Moving on to the NFC North, starting off with the Chicago Bears. The Bears, to me, had one of the best drafts as well in this draft. I felt like this was an extremely strong draft. Just for the ability for some of these players to fall to them was not, I mean, a little lucky, but like also pretty skilled in the way that they moved down the board in the second round to get Anthony Miller, receiver who I thought was like probably the best slot receiver in the draft. You add him in there to a Nagy offense, which is a big position there. Immediately, I think, ready receiver to go in there and help Mitchell Trubisky. I just like the way that they surrounded their team surrounded Mitchell Trubisky with a lot of talent all around. This could be the biggest sleeper team in the NFL with the amount of talent they have on both sides of the ball. Roquan Smith, wouldn't be surprised at 8th overall if he becomes the defensive rookie of the year. You have James Daniels, who a lot of people thought was going to be a first-round pick, ended up being an early second-round pick for the Bears. That allows them to move Whitehair to guard, from center to guard. You have Kyle Long, who can play right guard, and then James Daniels slots in there at center. So your offensive line with those running backs already going to be, really strong run game. They have the receivers. They have now the linebacker to go beside Danny Trevathan. This is a really strong roster. Maybe the only thing they could have addressed was corner, but I mean, besides that, I think this was a really good draft. I gave it an A+. I don't know. I thought it was amazing. AC.
Yeah, I gave him an A-. I think obviously Roquan Smith, I agree with you, gonna easily could be defensive player rookie of the year next year. James Daniel was nice. They needed that depth because obviously the one thing that was lacking was their other guard position, but you move him to center, and obviously Long can play obviously Long's normally the right guard, and so Whitehair can move to left guard. Their tackles are all right. The only thing, and I do think the Anthony Miller pick was great. It's going to be crazy to see how Nagy makes this all work now, because you bring Allen Robinson in, Kevin White is healthy, and I do think
they've kind of given up on him,
but I still think he has potential. They did bring in Tyler Gabriel, and obviously Josh Bellamy still has some game. So, and they brought in Benny Fowler as well. So they have a mishmash, and obviously Anthony Miller is a great talent. So that's interesting. The only thing I think they're still lacking is pass rush. I think they have good interior linemen. Eddie Goldman and Akeem Hicks are great. But if you look at it,
Leonard Floyd's pretty good.
Leonard Floyd, but he's somewhat slow. He's big. You know what I mean? He's not very. If anything, I would say he's not the fastest guy. I think Leonard Floyd for an outside linebacker is like 6'4", 6'5". He's huge. I think
the problem, AC, is that there weren't a lot of great pass rushers in this draft.
True. And obviously you have two good inside linebackers with Roquan Smith, but I still think if you look at their biggest weakness on their team, looking at it, their defense is Aaron Lynch or Howard Jones playing that left outside linebacking rushing position. And I think they maybe, and that's why it was A- for me. And I do think they could have used a nickel corner or even just a starting corner, because Prince is getting older and Kyle Fuller's great. I really like their safety tandem too with Eddie Jackson, Adrian Amos. So that's great. I just A- for me, because I think their biggest need was pass rush, in my opinion. That's about pass rush and a corner. And I just don't think they didn't get any of those. So for me, I just bumped it down a bit.